I'm sure I'm not the first person in the world to notice this, and I'm sure I won't be the last to draw attention to it, but 40K doesn't seem to know what the word heresy means. Judging by how they use it, both the writers and the fan community seem to be of the impression that heresy means anything that in any way contradicts a religious dogma. This is not the case. Historically, by which I mean specifically the period involving the actual Spanish Inquisition, heresy referred specifically to the formation of unorthodox religious groups, meaning groups that did not conform to the doctrines of the Church. And while, granted, most of the people that actually got branded as heretics were those the Church authorities deemed to be actively threatening to their power, the fact of the matter was that you still had to be a Christian in order to qualify for the label. So Chaos worshippers and Xenos would not be considered heretics, since they don't believe in or worship the God Emperor at all. The same as how a Muslim isn't a heretic by the Christian standard. Instead, they should be called infidels, literally, infideles, or non-faithful. People who have left the faith or were never part of the religion at all to begin with are not heretics, and therefore, historically speaking, would also be beyond the scope of the Inquisition's mandate, but would instead fall under the jurisdiction of the regular religious, and also just regular legal, since there's no separation between church and state, enforcers such as the Adeptus Arbites, Adeptus Sororitas, and the Grey Knights. Speaking of which, going off of historical precedent, the sorcerer, the witch, the warlock, the alchemist, and the astrologer are also not heretics, but sinners. Any religious or spiritual practice that is not ordained, authorized, and sanctified by the church authority was not heresy, but a sin, and a very serious one. Remember, if it ain't from Jesus, it's of the devil. By engaging with spiritual or supernatural forces other than those the religious authority counted as good by their association with God and Christ was to consort with enemy spirits, with demons, with the very essence of evil itself, and so was to be regarded as the epitome of unrighteous behavior and was to be dealt with accordingly. Again, though, it's not heresy, so long as the person didn't renounce their faith in Christ or God or the church or the biblical teachings while they were consulting their star charts, brewing their elixirs, or chanting their magic spells. Meaning that any power, any form of magic or technology that's not directly associated with or attributable to the God Emperor should not be called witchcraft or tech heresy, but necromancy, black magic, or necromachinas, black engines, respectively. Also, anyone who contradicts the Church's doctrines is not a heretic either, but a blasphemer, and the mutants are also not heretics, but abominations. As far as my understanding of the lore goes, the only groups I can think of who would technically classify as heretics are those who preach the divinity of the Sensei. That is, those who believe the Sensei are the actual progeny of the Emperor, and so hold their words as being of equal account as his own. And on that note, the Mechanicus with their belief in the Omnissiah could also be a contender for the term, provided they hadn't renounced any faith in the God Emperor outright. So those among them who believe that he and the machine god are one, or that the Omnissiah is his true and original form, or something else of the like, could see themselves getting branded as heretics should the ecclesiarchy get a bit too big for their britches, and decide that turning on their one and only arms manufacturer while they're losing a perpetual war with everything and everyone else in the galaxy, including themselves, is an acceptable price to pay in the name of social and spiritual purity. Of course, having said that, as with all legal or religious regulation, how it's written and how it's actually enforced are very rarely one and the same. So take all of this with a grain of salt the size of a space Hulk. This is just a fun bit of pedantic trivia I thought I'd toss out there for all the artists to have a field day with, nothing more. So with that in mind, my fine feathered confectioners, I must bid you all another adieu. You all know the drill from here. Like and subscribe, come join as a member or hop on over to the Discord, assuming I remember to post an updated link. And if I don't just give me a poke down in the comments section, leave your thoughts and opinions down there as well for the world to see. Buy my books if you like where my head is at in terms of lore consistency and world building. And until next time, as always, stay safe, stay sane, and remember, you can never think too much. You can only think badly. Peace be upon you.